Okay.
Thank you, Susan. Uh, so we're back. I'm just guessing that I won't figure out how to edit properly before I post this. So this might be episode 3 or episode 2 of Gender Fuckery with Rose Elizabeth Supan. Who is my guest?
I'm here.
She's here. All right, so I'm gonna just jump right in.
Hey,
How did you settle on the name Rose Elizabeth?
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's an awful lot of trans women who like go with the frilliest thing they can come up with.
Yeah, I believe it.
You know,
No,
especially when you first come out
yeah.
and you've started the
Oh,
E and
dude, you should
everything,
meet
and
the
it's just
trans men of this world. So many Elliots, so many Olivers. I don't know why. We dig orphan names, apparently. But
orphan name. That's great. But I approached it from, well, one, I knew that I wanted that Elizabeth to be my middle name because that was my grandmother's
oh,
name.
lovely.
And my grandmother was very accepting of me when I was a kid, and I was relaxed around her.
That must have been an oasis.
Yeah, it's not like I told her I was a girl, but at
No,
the
but she
same
was okay with you as you were.
as I was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, so I picked her name, but then for the first name I wanted to go with something that had some symbolism behind it.
Mhm.
And so the first thing I thought of was
Yeah.
Briar Rose.
I'm sorry.
Briar
Right.
Briar Rose. What? Who? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, okay. Was Briar Rose, the from whence came Princess Aurora and Sleeping Beauty.
Uh, yeah.
And the whole
The whole waking up.
right, the
Yeah,
whole
that makes a
notion,
lot of sense to me.
the whole notion of a guy who was brave enough to fight the thorns to get to the woman
And you were
and
both characters.
wake her up, and I was both
I
characters.
love that.
The guy who was brave enough to wake her up.
That's really beautiful. I really love that.
Thank
You know,
you.
in contrast, Luke just showed up in my head before I'd even come out. Uh, and I still don't know why. I have, but it seemed like a logical. I knew that I didn't want it to be as unique as Deirdre was. I needed a break. All right. So, all right, here we go. Like 80% of my psychological symptoms of my collective mental illnesses just fucking disappeared when I came out. How did you find your mental health was affected by coming out?
I I wasn't depressed like I was normally depressed. I wasn't. My aggression, even before I started the E, my aggression started really abating.
Yeah.
It
Good.
eventually
Yeah.
took more than that. It took bipolar disorder medication to really help that along.
That'll help. That will help. I know you got sober. That also helps.
That also helps, but I was sober before I ever, came out.
Right.
And so yeah, so I would say the aggressiveness, the really, 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 I was just happier. I was
Yeah.
just, it was like, I can't tell you what it felt like to me to be in the world
As
as
you.
myself
Yeah.
instead of being in drag. which I have
Right?
for 54 years.
I explain it as like I used to wake up and put my Deirdre costume on,
Yeah.
and then like I would be putting everything through that persona, so people wouldn't know me or fall in love with me. They would fall in love with this persona, and then I would resent them for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, I look at that as drag in a
Yeah,
way,
absolutely.
and people, when people say, well, you really pass as female, and I say, you know what, don't use that word with me.
I don't like that word.
I passed for 54 years as
There
male.
you go. Exactly.
I'm
I
not
mean, if I were
passing,
ever,
I'm
oh, go
not
ahead.
passing as nothing now.
Yeah, right. Um, like I've considered doing drag locally, and I tried on a few a few drag king identities, but I realized that my drag persona is a lady, anaphylaxis, is toxic, and like is only fun if she's a character. Otherwise, no, thank you. All right, so now let's talk about transition. Like,
Okay.
um, what kind of hoops did you have to jump through to get estrogen, and then sort of what was the process like for you?
Estrogen was the hoops I went through weren't even necessary. I was being given old information. There was a hospital up here in the Baltimore area called Chase Brexton. And Chase Brexton dealt with transgender people, but you had to go before a panel and plead your case. And most of the time, they said no. You're not getting the hormones. You're not real.
I can't imagine going before a jury for something that's not a crime.
Right.
You know?
I know. So I thought that I really had to get a story in place with that other people could,
Yeah, no, I have to. You felt that you had to sort of like make yourself presentable. I don't even know what. Yeah, okay. So
well,
those.
I thought I needed people to testify besides myself.
Yeah.
And so at that point I was out as a female everywhere but work. And I went to yeah, they weren't gonna have it. Not right away anyway. And oh, it's a whole different story. I've won.
I can see that. I mean, and then like honestly, like you're one of the people who I know who would fall under the boomer umbrella, who is 100% on the right side of history. You know? Like I don't think that our understanding of gender is going back to the binary ever.
Yeah, I hope not.
I hope not too, man.
As,
Um,
as much as governments are now pushing it.
oh God, I know. But they are pushing it because there are more of us who are refusing to hide, you know?
It scares them.
I'm sorry?
It scares them.
Yeah. That's Hosier, musician?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God. Oh, finally I can introduce you to some good music.
Okay.
But one of my favorite songs of his is called Jackboot Jump, and it's like a reference to that quote about like the future looking like a jackboot jumping on a person's face forever. But he said like, good things are happening when the jackboot needs to jump. So like,
Wow.
and yeah, he's a brilliant Irish lyricist.
What's the name again?
Hosier. I'm just going to make you a playlist of his stuff
Okay.
after we get off.
Thanks.
Thingy. Yeah, of course. I owe it to you. You gave me firewater.
Yeah, you've given me plenty too.
Oh.
With Firewater, I'm glad you liked him because I love Firewater and I miss
like,
Todd. I don't know where Todd A is now, but I miss him.
I'm sure, honestly, oh no. I'm guessing he's in the Middle East, honestly. But who
He
knows?
he
Who
may
knows?
be. He may be.
He
All
may
I
be.
know is I had an argument with him, Luke,
I know
about
because he was
how
like,
to
that's not
spell
how
your
you spell
name.
the name Deirdre.
I mean, I know how to spell
There
her
are different
name.
spellings, first of all. But it's like, do you think I don't know?
This is my friend.
I'm here on their behalf. No, not that you were there on my behalf, of course, but and I love that poster still.
I have a copy too.
Oh.
Yep.
All right, so I only have a few more questions left.
Okay.
Do you have any advice for trans women who are questioning or who are closeted?
Yeah. Don't closet anymore. I would have to say that. I highly recommend that you get not just any therapist, but
Yeah,
somebody who knows the trans situation.
absolutely. And this just a real quick like PSA, and a lot of people don't know this, but if you go on the Psychology Today website, you can not only you can tailor a search to your area, to your insurance, but most specifically, you can pick a specialty, including LGBTQ. So you can search exclusively for LGBTQ plus supportive therapists.
Yeah, the one problem I'm going to say about that is that I found that there were trans people who went to LGBTQ specializing, and they did not specialize in the T.
They specialized in
The LGBTQ,
oh, not T.
not the T.
I also, you were talking about the first therapist who you sort of came out to who wasn't okay with, I had a sort of a parallel experience. My first therapist that I got after I moved down here to Virginia, when I finally got comfortable enough to tell her about my gender identity, she told me that not only did she tell me that, that wasn't real, that wasn't my real gender identity, but she also explained to me why I had that complex. And the reason I had the complex, she said, was that because of invasive tests that I underwent as a very young child because of like private part related problems. And she told me that my reasoning had been if I had had a penis, that wouldn't have happened. She didn't bother to ask whether I ever wanted a penis, which I
Oh,
don't.
God damn.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
several years
you
ago now,
gotta
though.
get somebody, you gotta get
Yeah,
somebody that knows what they're
you
doing.
really do. And like my current therapist wrote me a letter that I used to get testosterone. Like that is another thing I want all trans or neurodivergent people make sure that any therapist that you get or see is willing to write you a letter if you plan to transition.
Right, right. You do gotta have that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went in and just asked for the hormones, my wife, who had still never seen me dressed, and she had come back and was living in the same house in a different bedroom,
Yeah.
and she said, I said, you know what? I'm going to the doctors as myself. You'll have
Yeah.
to look at me dressed. And she said, okay, I want to be able to tell them that you are what you are. And my daughter went too. It was great.
Oh, that's great. I do like to hear that, I guess.
So, and then we went through all that, and the doctor said to me, you know, you didn't have to do all this, don't you?
You don't need character witnesses.
I said, I'm sorry. I heard a lot of bad stories about Chase Braxton.
Sure. I'm sorry, Chief?
Chase.
Chase. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
ChasebreXton, I think, just like, Brex, like Brex,
Oh, gotcha.
Florida. Yeah.
Now,
Um,
okay, while we still have time,
yeah.
I've been told that you have a couple of good stories about bottom surgery. Would you care to relay any of them tonight?
Well, sure. They're not.
Only if you want to.
Well, they're not good stories.
I mean, look, this is called Unsound Minds. We're going to be getting into some very bad stories.
I did I had the surgery and I was, I don't know, 60. Just turned 70. So I guess I was like
Hey,
60.
congratulations. When's your birthday?
It's just the 27th.
Oh my God. Of October?
Yep.
That's the day after my brother Eamon's birthday.
Really?
Yeah, he was born on the 26th.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that crazy? Anyway,
Anyway, so well, that's cool.
yeah.
So I think when I was around 64, I didn't feel like I'd ever be able to afford it. And then God bless the state of Maryland, who which, gave us our civil rights, and also said to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Maryland, which was denying any transgender health
Yeah.
care. And then Maryland says you consider yourself a not-for-profit. That means you have to do the same thing that
That's so smart.
we're doing with our employees of the state of Maryland.
That's so smart.
So they were stuck. And I said, hot damn. So I
Get the
had
guillotine ready.
I had the surgery, and my body just went nuts and things did not go well with it.
Major surgery is so traumatic.
Yeah, and I wasn't healing. It was awful.
Really?
Things were falling apart down there. It was like it's melting away. It was like my vagina is the wicked witch.
World.
No, what a world.
Yeah.
And so I did have a second opera after the company that shunned me and didn't want me to present, and then
Was it
even
with their insurance?
yeah, but here's the topper. I was going to take 2 weeks off. I was told I could probably go back to work after 2 weeks. I was 6 weeks. They paid the whole thing, all that time off, because by then they were hip and enlightened. They were
Right.
great. They were
They had caught
great.
up.
They had caught up. Took a while, but they had caught up.
Great.
And so yeah, and then the second operation, they kept telling me, inferring that the reason I wasn't healing was because I was smoking. And I said,
Oh my God.
I'm not smoking. No,
I'm not smoking with that.
you really you really shouldn't smoke when you're healing, especially when you're 64.
Yeah, really.
So I was being a good girl, and it just,
They
but
didn't like that.
like I said, everything was melting down there.
Yeah.
Please, not the clit. And and so they did the operation, but they seemed a mite resentful of the whole situation.
I mean, that's sort of a something I get a lot, a feeling.
So when I went into the office after my first week at home, and then I was driven up, she was in Philly. I went up to Philly for the actually 2 weeks, and she's got a new assistant, and he is, there's no other way to put it, he was sadistic and gay.
Oh.
And that's not to say the gay's bad, but it's
No, but I mean, there is a specific faction of the gay community that just seems to hate trans people, especially trans women.
They do. You're
Even
right about
there's
that.
MJ's, I'm sure, in Norfolk.
Uh-huh.
It's a gay bar. And I was there once, like dressing as me, and I wasn't welcome there.
No.
Not the way that I was when I was femme presenting.
Right.
It's just like, guys, that's punching down. Like, and it makes it impossible for all of us to punch up together. Like,
I've had a lot of bad experiences with gay men and lesbians who
Oh no. Oh yeah,
that
the
think that
turfs.
I'm bullshit. The turfs.
The turfs. I hate
People
the
say, well, if
turfs.
you're going to call them names like that, then how can you expect to make any progress? And I said that when they hate us, how can you expect us to make any progress?
Yeah, we don't. It's not like making people like us is the problem. The
That's
problem is
right.
us not having rights and getting killed left, right, and center.
Yeah. So yeah. So so yeah, so he we went in there and I was in the stirrups and they're supposed to show you how to use the dilator,
Uh-huh.
which is like the extremely hard penis of death, and you keep
Oh,
getting.
I've been to the OBGYN.
Oh, you've had fun with those too?
Yes.
Yeah, that last one they give you, it's like whatever color it is, the purple one, it's like, holy shit, get out of here. I'm not gonna have sex with horses. I told him right off, I said, I'm never using this last one. I don't
Oh, they
even
just gave it to you to use yourself.
I don't even want to know about this last one. I ain't dilating with the last one.
No, I guess, I mean, it's like you're
And
not planning on giving birth anytime soon.
but when they first demonstrate it to you after you've had the operation and stuff, it's very uncomfortable. It does hurt, but and
The last thing you want to do is stick more stuff in there.
but they're very gentle about the way that they insert and everything, and they teach you how to insert it. This asshole.
And I mean, this sounds like somebody who wasn't qualified to be doing this.
Oh, I'm sure he was qualified. I also got the feeling that he thought that I was, besmirching the honor of them by saying, that there was a
You
problem
fucked up
with the
here.
operation. Yeah. And he just took the dilator and went wham. And he said, that's the way you do it.
That sounds like an impromptu episiostomy.
And then I thought to myself, that's not the way you do it.
It's not the way anybody's supposed to.
I won't be back here if the whole goddamn thing falls out. so, so that was my story of my transition. But I will say this, and it goes along with what you were talking about, advice.
Yes.
When
That
you're
was my next question, actually.
when you're transitioning, don't push it. Go slow. Appreciate each little movement upward.
Right.
The biggest thing is when you start with the hormones, the attention. Be quiet with yourself and listen to your body and
don't make assumptions like I do.
You don't. You wait. You wait.
Yeah.
And when I started noticing that colors were more vivid to me,
Really?
I was like, oh shit. And when I especially found that my sense of feeling was changing and that things felt different.
Yeah.
Things felt different. Things that I never appreciated the feeling of, I loved. And when people say, what are you talking about? I'll say, okay, here's a good way to explain it. You introduce a person to a beagle, and the women will feel its ears and go, oh my
Oh, it's so
God,
soft.
these are so soft. And
Right.
guys will go, good dog.
Yeah. I just whack it. Yeah.
So everything, the feeling of my nipples when my breasts were coming in.
Oh,
and
yeah. I remember that in regular puberty. That was
and just also, and I've had a lot of people agree with me. I was the one who brought this up for the first time, as far as I know, at least with other trans friends.
Uh-huh.
Was I said, I think I went through puberty there over the first year.
Oh yeah, second puberty is what I've always heard it called.
Yeah, and it really is, and psychologically it is. You do a lot
Right?
of things. There's a lot of trans, oh, especially at my age, a lot of older trans women who are suddenly all dressing up in pink all the time and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I know, we miss this, we miss
Yeah.
this.
And no, that's
And
the
that
thing is
was,
like for anybody who's trans, the first round of puberty you had was hellish.
yeah,
Like I mean, like my mental illnesses reared their heads, and then I got the fucking triple D's, and it was just like I don't know what this is all
yeah.
about. So it make like so like for the one that you get now, maybe enjoy the zits or whatever it is that you get.
I didn't get any zits.
No, you wouldn't have.
My skin, I still had zits when I was 64. They went away.
Well, no, yeah, like Nora, my sister and I, neither of us had acne growing up. My little brother got hit triple. But yeah,
I was
that's
zit as a male. My teenagerdom was Zitland. Yeah.
yeah. And it didn't come with any perks either.
No,
Like
zits come with no perks.
no.
Your face gets all greasy, and if you fall on the, you fall on the concrete, you slide 10 feet if you landed on your
You just like popping it over a griddle.
yeah.
Eggs. All right. Well, that's all the questions that I had.
Well,
Is there
okay.
anything else you would like to mention? For look, I have 160 subscribers, followers on YouTube, and that's where this is going to go up. So it's not like this is going to really spread all that far. But I do like I consider it my responsibility as a human being to use whatever platform I have to be as beneficial to, I don't know, the world at large as possible. And that's one of the reasons I asked you on.
That's because you're a good person, Luke. I'm telling you. You're
If
right.
if I believed in the concepts of good or evil, I might agree with you.
Well,
Instead,
you're not an evil person.
No, God, I mean, I don't, yeah, no, I know that.
Yes, when my daughter was young, I told her, I said, I'm not really, your mother and I really aren't part of much of any religion. I said, but any religion you're interested in, I will tell you, I will learn, and I will tell you all I can about it. And I said, there's just one thing that right now, there ain't no hell. And that's not just in
That
this
is
house.
so
There ain't
important.
no hell.
The idea.
People threaten you with eternal punishment.
You can laugh in their face. That's all right.
That's right. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I will say one other thing.
Of course.
It's scary and unnerving. It was scary and unnerving for me the first time I went out in public during the daytime.
Yeah.
Just make sure you go out with somebody else who's trans.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's all you really need. You need somebody
in your corner who knows what you're going through.
Yeah, and who's walking perfectly confident, who's already been through this.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have someone to hold your hand when you're doing that the first time.
Damn, I like that idea. I am a hermit by nature, so like I'm not really involved in the LGBTQ scene around here. I will occasionally clock a trans man because he'll be chubby, have sporadic facial hair, and be wearing a garish Hawaiian shirt.
Every
time.
I've noticed that Hawaiian shirts are really in now.
I don't get it.
It used to be flannel, but
no, the lesbians took flannel.
Okay.
They have I mean, I wear flannel, but I don't wear fucking Hawaiian shirts because I'm a fag and I care about fashion.
I don't see why anybody non-binary, trans,
No reason.
straight, cis, nobody needs to be wearing a
You don't
Hawaiian
need to.
shirt.
I think the reason is that I have read advice that loud prints help mask curves,
Oh,
but
well,
not
that makes
enough,
sense.
not enough that you should sacrifice your game. Like, I do just fine. Layers. Put on layers before you put on the fucking Hawaiian shirt, please. You're giving us all a bad name.
Well, and I will impart something to the trans females that are partaking of this podcast, and
Yes.
that is when you first start dressing. I mean, this has a little bit of shoulder puff to it, but
I mean, it's
tiny,
clearly a women's shirt.
tiny bit. A lot of us, especially my age, because we missed getting
You missed
to be
out
a
on
hippie.
so much womanhood.
We missed getting to be a hippie chick. And hippie chicks had these what they called granny tops that had the big puffy things.
I've seen those.
That's not smart for a trans person to wear unless you're super skinny like Christian Bale in The Machinist or something. because all it does is
Make you look more buff.
like Iron Man in your shoulder.
Maybe I'll get them then.
That's my last piece of advice.
All right. And with that, I'm going to end the recording. We can still talk.
Okay.
So yeah, this is normally when people talk about plugs. So go check out my store, Widdershins Goods, on Etsy. Rose, is there anything you'd like to promote?
I would like to promote Widdershins, which I certainly have stuff from Widdershins.